I just finished recording with Nick Young, our new guest here for this video, which we're talking about product launches. But what I can recommend you guys take from this video, aside from the actual tips that he's talking about for product launching, is the mindset, the way that he look at things. I really love this video. I learned a lot. He inspired me a lot to think out of the box, and I think that you should focus on that when you think about your business and how to grow it and how to scale and with everything that you do. Now, before we're moving into the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell if you want to see more videos related to Amazon FBA. Also, if you want to get tips and updates that I don't share here, go to sourcing-monster.com and subscribe to the newsletter. And let's start with the interview that we had with him. Welcome everyone. We have a new guest today, Nick Young, co-founder of Marketplace Ops, and he is also the partner of Fernando Campos, which was a guest on this channel. If you watched that video a couple of weeks ago, I told Nick about this earlier before we started the call, but he's someone that I follow since I started to sell on Amazon and started my journey in Amazon FBA, and he got some really crazy numbers. And Nick, welcome again. Can you share a little background about yourself and what are you up to these days?
Sure. Thank you so much, Tomer. So yeah, I guess I'll give you just a quick intro. So Fernando and I, we've been selling on Amazon since 2014. And so, we have had a lot of experience. There are so many different phases of running an Amazon business, but we started in 2014. At our peak, we had about 250 different products that we sold under our own brands, grossing roughly 30 million a year. By about 2017, 2018, we realized that there was really a natural synergy between our skill sets, what we had done, and our ability to help brands grow on Amazon. So that's really been a primary focus for us since then. We still sell some of our own products. We mostly focus on US based domestic products, but generally we really focus on helping brands grow on Amazon, leveraging our team. We have about 50 people globally who work on Amazon, work on our brands that we work with. And yeah, we're really involved in the community. So, some people might know me as one of the faces for Seller Tradecraft, which is what I think you talked about. So, there we created a course. We help people launch their first products on Amazon. And then also, we created Pixelfy as well, which is a super URL tool and pixel tracking tool that, Amazon sellers use as well. So got our hands on a lot of pots, but really for me, the main focus is Marketplace Ops, where we help CPG brands grow their sales on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And when you say CPG brands, what does it exactly mean, if you can share?
Yeah, so CPG stands for consumer packaged goods. A lot of times these are, consumable products that you might see on retail shelves in the store. And so, usually they're in Target or they're carried at CVS or whatever. They have their own website, but a lot of these brands, don't really know how to be successful on marketplaces like Amazon. And originally they had the option of not being on Amazon, let's say like 3-4 years ago. But now with COVID and everything that's happening, they realize, wow, I really need a strategy around marketplaces because Amazon represents one of every 2 transactions online in the US. So it's just something that they can't ignore anymore.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool. And your guys seems like to take so much action, everything that you do, like massive action in like Pixelfy, Seller Tradecraft, Amazon, now this agency. But now it looks like your focus is on one thing, and that's really cool. And I know that you're expert in launching products. So I want this call, if possible, to be focused on how to rank products, how to launch products. I know it's a topic that everyone, especially new sellers and even advanced sellers, always trying to improve and learn and get information on. So, what do you think is currently the best strategy, in your opinion, to launch new products? What's working for you guys lately?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a one size fits all approach. Obviously, it really depends on the category. But I think it comes down to, it used to be when we started in 2014, we used to just like source products, right? That, what I call Me Too products. Let's say someone was selling, I don't know, a mug we would sell a mug as well and do it, at a better price, maybe a little different.
Yeah.
And it would work well, right? Things have really changed. And I think it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to a private label seller, one of the things that I always say is it's important to really start from the very beginning, even before you launch your product, to really think about how your product is differentiated from the competition. And so that means making it very unique, making your offer something that's immediately valuable from the main image, right? So from the get-go, when people are seeing your offer against the keywords that you're targeting, when they see the image, they say, oh, that's a great offer. I want to click in, I want to make a purchase.
Yes.
Whether it's better branding, whether it's, better value, maybe both. That is the first most important thing, because if you have a unique offering, well-branded, a good quality product, everything is going to be much easier to launch, right? And so it really starts from that point. We really invest so much time in making sure that, it looks very good. And that means even going as far as like A/B testing what our packaging should look like against the competition. So that's what we do in the very beginning. We'll actually take our competitors, knowing before we even source a product, hey, these are our top competitors in the market. We'll use a tool like PickFu and then actually run polling campaigns to say, why do you click on this product over everything else before we even put our own product there? And then we'll actually get that feedback, send that to our designer, to our design team, and then say, hey, we want you to put together a packaging that incorporates all this feedback, and we'll actually merchandise an offer to say, okay, it seems like this is important. It's organic is important, or vegan is important. Let's make sure that that's in our offering. And then we'll again get that prototype of what that packaging looks like. We'll run it through campaigns again, and keep running campaigns until we get an offer that actually really resonates and gets the most clicks, and the most choices among that polling. Right? Does that make sense so far? So
Yes.
yeah, so that means that even from the very beginning, before we've even launched the product, we know, because we've run tests, that this product, if it's in the search results, people are going to click on it, right? And that's really positioning yourself to win from the very beginning. So that's what we do. We'll make sure that we have an image set, that packaging looks good, that it really performs well, and then from then on, we start working on a campaign while we're waiting for the product to arrive. And so once the product arrives, one of the things we realize is that it's really important that you're targeting the most relevant keywords with the highest purchase intent, right? So making sure that you have a very, very closely linked book of keywords that are really relevant for your product. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say you're selling a pan, right? Like, a stainless steel cooking pan that's nonstick. Cookware is not a good keyword to target, right? It's just too broad. So you want to make sure that you have a very specific, highly relevant keyword that you're targeting with, obviously, ideally high search volume, but really make sure that you understand what those keywords are, and also that you're in the right category, because those two things can really impact how Amazon sees your listing. And so ultimately, relevancy is the most important thing. And so usually in the first 2 weeks of a launch, we'll do a couple of things. Number one, we know we don't have that many reviews because we're just launching. So we're going to do a very aggressive coupon code from the very beginning, maybe even break even. And the reason why we do that is because when customers see this as an option in PPC, if you don't have reviews, there's no reason why a person would click on your listing over one that has thousands of reviews, right? So you got to give them a reason to click, which is like that
Especially the
offer.
colors, like CTR, right?
Exactly. So we have a great image. We also have a great coupon claim offer. So it gives people a reason to click our listing. And so that's in the first 2 weeks. On top of that, the first 2 weeks are really spent, specifically targeting through PPC and through giveaways our relevant keywords. So our top keyword first, and then seeing what movement is happening. If we're not seeing any movement on those keywords, it probably means it's either not the right keyword, or we're not in the right category. So what we'll do is we'll continue to monitor our indexation, seeing if we're getting any movement. And if we still aren't getting any movement, we'll make those adjustments. And then after 2 weeks, we'll be able to see, okay, well, we made that category change. Now we're starting to stick for these keywords. So now we can start going more aggressive with our giveaway campaigns. We really look at, I'm sure you're familiar with what the honeymoon period is, right? So basically, it's the first 90 days of a launch, which is the most crucial. And so we look at launches as over a period of just 90 days. So a very extended launch. It used to be that you could promo, over 2 weeks, and that's enough. But we really do our giveaways over a period of 60 to 90 days, because we see that Amazon looks at consistency over a long period of time as a really crucial factor of whether or not this product deserves placement for the keywords that you're targeting. So that's what we really do. First 2 weeks spent, creating a good offer, making sure we're indexed, making sure we're sticking. And then, after 2 weeks, we start really aggressively targeting our very relevant keywords with high exact match bid campaigns. We run giveaways. We try to get people to purchase on those ads so that we can trigger more relevancy using ManyChat. And then we try to use varied sources of traffic. So sometimes we'll send people through Twitter to click into our listing. Maybe we'll send them through, Pinterest to click through into our listing. And that way we're getting diversified sources of traffic going to our listing, not only from Amazon. And Amazon sees that ultimately as high domain authority sites. And therefore you guys, you deserve that rank or that position that you're getting. So really that's what we're trying to get to. So first month of launch, indexation, relevancy, category, making sure those are all correct. And then those high exact match campaigns and also reviews. So we try to get to, let's say 30 to 40 reviews before we're even adding any more additional keywords, right? Because we don't want to drive too much traffic to our listing and have low conversion rates or click through, because that indicates to Amazon that it's not relevant. So, if we have more reviews that are very well rated, then that means that when we start adding more and more traffic, the conversion rates are going to be good. And really from then on, it's all about layering more and more traffic, whether it's through giveaway campaigns, whether it's through more and more PPC, whether it's through adding more video ads. And really as we move through the barrier, let's say we go from 20,000 BSR to 10,000 BSR, we add one other thing. So maybe it's a new set of manual campaigns. Then it brings it down to 8,000 in BSR. And then, let's say we send, some influencer campaigns to go through, we're sending more traffic, then it goes down to 6,000 BSR. So just really seeing where the resistance is and then layering in more and more pieces of traffic and not blowing your load all at once. That's really, I think, what's working for us, because Amazon wants to see a gradual uptick in traffic and sales, not something that happens all at once and then goes away. Because to them, that looks like, abnormal behavior.
Yeah, yeah. And to those of you that, didn't really understand everything that Nick said, we can easily make a video for every stage, an hour long, and I could get into it in a deeper level. But, just in like a short answer, that how they launch products, which is very similar to the process that I do, except the giveaways. I don't do giveaways. And I don't do the part where you before designing the packaging, because I also have packaging for all of my products to stand out, like you said, but I don't do the pick-through pulls before the design. Usually just go and just scan the first page results real quick, and based on that, give instructions to the designer. But your way is more based on data, which I love, like following data and numbers. And I think that I'm gonna do it for the next products, just running some polls on pick-through and softwares like that. Now, you mentioned something about the honeymoon period, like 90 days, which Amazon look at your product as a new product and give you full opportunity to sell and rank and give you exposure. So what happens, and it happened to me as well and to many other people I know, is that in their first 90 days, they might sell out their product, and offer went so well that they couldn't really predict that they will be out of stock, and they went out of stock. And after they come back, the conversions are not the same. Like everything is messed up, which doesn't make sense, because to me, in my eyes, I can't really figure out how Amazon look at it, because you know what? How come the conversion is going down? What, like Amazon like algorithm like say, okay, this product is not good anymore? Do you have any like information or something to share about this thing that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think this is a common issue for a lot of sellers. That's why I think it's always important, if you really feel confident about your offering, to have enough inventory. That said, I mean, this is an issue we run into often, so it's not something that we are able to always avoid. Generally, I think what can sometimes happen is maybe there's a couple different situations that people have. Maybe as their volume increases, right, and when they still have inventory, they start increasing their price, right? And if they're increasing their price, their sales are dropping. And so they're trying to manage those sales. And then by the time, they're lower on inventory, Amazon's not only ranking them lower because they have less inventory, but also the price is so high, so their conversion rates are lower. And what happens is that now that you're out of stock, Amazon is looking at your last 30 days and it's recording maybe your lower conversion rates and your higher price point. So that could be a factor that I'm thinking. So usually my recommendation is, don't drastically increase your price because that could negatively impact your conversion rates. Let yourself run out of stock. Maybe increase it by like $1 or $2, but let it run out of stock. Maintain that high velocity rate, then close your listing and set your listing to available in the future, like whenever you think it's going to come in. That way the listing is down completely. And then what I would do is once you come back in stock, again, do an aggressive coupon code, do $1 off. Maybe like if your product is $40, do a $20 off coupon code at break even, right?
Wow.
And then run really aggressive PPC on your exact match campaigns of the keywords that are really relevant. And what we've seen is within 1 to 2 weeks, we start getting our BSR back. It takes a while. I say it takes up to maybe 2 to 3 weeks to really get back to that peak velocity. But for us, because we maintain that velocity even towards the end of how much inventory that we have, we find that we can get back to our original place pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I see this a lot even on my accounts too. Like sometimes you just don't know when to stop, or sometimes even giving up too early. So how do you determine if a product is like a winner or a loser, and like what time frame you guys give it? Because sometimes you believe in the products too much, you just lose and lose and lose. Or the other end, you could stop too early, giving up too early, but it's a good product that could eventually rank. How and when is like the sweet spot for that, like as far as time frame, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we really ran into this issue when we first started the business because we were aggressively launching so many products. And what we ended up finding was that, wow, we had a lot of products that just like weren't performing well that we still kept. And the thing is, like, I think, each seller really needs to define what success means for them, right? It has to start with what margin profile are you looking for, right? And really making sure that you're sticking to that. And so what we found for ourselves was that we needed at least 150% ROI on our products, net, for us to really say that this product is worth continuing. Generally, our goal was to break even on the first PO. And if we, towards the end of the cycle, can get to an organic 150% net ROI, then that means it's something that we should continue. And anything that falls below that does not meet our margin profile, and therefore we're just going to discontinue that. So really making sure that you're evaluating on a per SKU basis what your numbers are is super important. I think the thing that you talked about, really believing your product, I can really relate to that because, initially, I might think, oh, I'm married to this product. I'm in love with this product. I want to keep going. And I think that does not help because when you get emotionally tied to a product, you're not thinking about things rationally. So I think really using Excel or whatever data analysis tool that you're using to make sure that you're maintaining those numbers is important. Because you'd rather have 5 SKUs at 150% ROI hitting those metrics rather than 15 SKUs that are taking up your cash, right?
Yep.
Cash is something that a lot of sellers don't think about, especially if you're sourcing from China. Your money is sitting in inventory, assuming you're shipping by sea, for like 45 to 60 days, right? And so if you have a product that's only like a 50 to 70% ROI, you're really like, the return on your cash is very low. And you're not turning around that cash fast enough. So the goal is really to find products where it has a high rate of return, whether that means sourcing domestically with a lower ROI or sourcing internationally with a higher ROI. So that cash flow is so important because you have to look at everything as an opportunity cost. If it's not meeting your requirements, then it's coming at a cost of being able to invest that money into something else that's returning better numbers for you.
Yeah, great answer. I have 2 things to say about your answer. So one, I think that like you said, if you have a specific criteria that you prepare ahead of time strategically and saying, okay, these are the metrics that I'm going to follow, then you leave aside all the emotions because you just tell yourself like, okay, it didn't meet the criteria that I set to myself. Let's give up on this. Instead of don't really have criteria, just going without any goal or just don't know where to do it. When a product, when you have this situation that you're not sure, you don't kind of have a map or something to follow.
Right.
That's something that I will actually prepare. I will have some criteria, and it's a very nice, good point here. Second thing about the cash flow. This is something that is I really struggled last year. My goal at the beginning of 2020 to launch 25, 30 products, and that's what I did. But I felt that I have so many failing products, and all this cash flow is not really distributed enough or well enough. So this year, 2021, I really give up on many products, even products that are profitable, so I can focus and having more inventory of my best-selling items. And
Exactly.
I actually January and February, these are the best months ever, because I don't lose money on some items, and I have enough inventory to support demand. So
Right.
yeah, definitely
Yeah.
great answers here.
And I think there's like a, there's a common pattern that I'm seeing. I think the same principle applies in investing, right? A lot of investors will say know when to cut your losses. If you're stuck on a stock because you want to make your money back, you're going to get emotional about it. You need to just cut your losses and focus on the winners, right? And even, I used to work in sales, and one of the things that I struggled with initially when I started going was, I would talk to a client and be like, oh, maybe this person could fit. It doesn't fit all the criteria, but maybe this person can come on board and sign. And eventually what I realized was the people, that I signed on board that maybe I made a discount for originally, maybe they couldn't afford our fees, they weren't qualified, and they ended up being more trouble than they were worth.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
found that there are certain people that met a certain profile, and that's called qualifying in sales. It's like making sure that they fit that profile, because otherwise they're not a fit. And you need to make sure that you cut them out, because operationally it'll be more of a hassle to bring them on board than to actually just continue to find people that fit that profile. So there's
yeah.
limitless opportunity. I mean, there's like hundreds of millions of products that are available online. So, you really just got to be stringent. Don't get married. Let the data tell you what's working, what's not.
Yeah, yeah, and the way that you think, I think that's what set yourself and people like you from all the rest of the sellers, not the rest of the sellers, but unsuccessful sellers. It's really the way that we think will determine our success. It's not the
Right.
how to techniques and all that stuff. This is like I love the way that you think. I try to improve always the way that I think, and analyzing the situations, and just laying down all the options and getting decision based on me thinking, and
Totally.
that's really like smart input you put here. It's very similar to me where I was shipping some Walmart and eBay orders myself, and then I was saying I'm wasting like an hour 2 hours a day fulfilling an order myself. Let me make actually or lose a couple of dollars per order just sending it to a 3PL, like deliver or things like that,
Totally.
and then I make much more sales actually, and I'm freeing up my time. So
Exactly.
whatever you said about the cells, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
Um,
and one thing I want to add also, sorry, I know I'm derailing this, but you had mentioned that you wanted last year to launch 25 products, right? And I think it's really interesting because I can relate to that. We had a similar kind of mindset initially, and we realized that was the wrong way to look at things,
yeah,
because those 25 products, like, what if each one only did 1,000? You have to invest 5,000, right, in profit. Instead, now we actually do our goals based off of, okay, well, we want to shoot for an additional $50,000 a month in gross profit by the end of this quarter or whatever. And it doesn't matter if it's one product or if it's three products
yeah,
or two products. Obviously, the less is better, right? And so, really being flexible about how you get there, and but focused and clear about what you want. Because in an ideal world, like, let's say you wanted to add additional, I don't know, $50,000 to $100,000 a month in profit. If you could do it with 5 products, that'd be better than doing it with 25. Right. So,
yeah,
yeah. So just saying, oh, I want to launch 25 products isn't as good as saying, oh, I wanted to add this much in additional profit. Let me work backwards to see how many products that might be.
yeah, yeah. To those who are watching, make sure that you really pay attention with what we say here. I really think that this is like what sets the difference between successful sellers to unsuccessful sellers. It's the way that you look at things. Okay, great. I know we're limited with time, but I do have just 2 or 3 more questions. What do
Sure.
you think about like variations, multi-packs, bundles within the listing to create those like this additional revenue without too much efforts? How you guys looked at it and still looking at this?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I mean, I think the answer is it really just depends on the category, right? Um, if it's a very new category, maybe you're better off having separate listings because you could take up more real estate, right?
Mhm.
But if it's a very mature category where there's not as much space, the people on page one are doing really well. Having variations is a good way to differentiate your listing. And so one of the things that we play around with is differentiation. I think colors is obviously something that people do, but also based on price points, right? Like pricing strategy. So for instance, if everyone is selling a product for $20, we might come in with a product that's a lower quantity, and we'll launch two products at the same time. One that's a lower quantity, but it's like $15, and the other one that's a higher quantity that's $25. So that way on Amazon it shows as 15 to 25. But we're also showing other people that we have this $15 offer, which is a fine deal. It's better than what other people have, but the $25 is actually an even better deal. And so, it allows us to strategically guide it so that we look like the best offer from the search results, but also it drives people to the $25 price point, right?
Yeah.
So that's a way that you can play with variations from just a pricing strategy standpoint. Yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. I actually didn't do it strategically like you said, but that's what exactly I did. I had the $24 item and I added the $13 item, and the $13 item I didn't do any PPC, and just started to sell like 100 units a day just without
Yeah.
addition. So I was able through variation. That's why I asked you, because I was amazed, testing it out, just testing again. They didn't really have plans to increase it, and I saw these results. So I think that if you strategically do it and plan it, you can have this advantage over your competitors, which are not
Totally.
aware or know how to do it. Yeah, great answer. Thank you. I know that you guys scaled your Amazon business very quick with employees and with new SKUs and all of that. Can you share maybe one or two tips after scaling your business that fast, that would really help sellers to grow and scale their business in 2021, like in a quick way, but maybe not that, like really focusing on the right things, like you said before. My goal was
Yeah.
25 products, but I was focusing on number of products, but not at the end result, which is revenue or profit. How
Right.
you look at this scaling?
Man, there's so many things I could talk about. I mean, number one, we already touched on, which is like looking at the finances of your business and making sure that you have a criteria and that you stick to it, right? I think that's the first thing, because that's going to determine your cash flow. And the cash flow is what determines where you can invest your money, whether it's in employees or whether it's in new products, right? So that's the first thing that I would do, just making sure that you're sticking to that very diligently. The next part that I would look at is really thinking deeply about your time, and about where you think your time should be spent and where it should not be spent. I think when we first got started, with me and my business partner, I was the guy doing the design work. I was a guy like, working, to set up the listings, to fix issues with the listings. But when I really think about it, that stuff is not really a big value add to the business, right? It's not stuff that's going to drive more revenue or grow the business. And so usually when it comes down to an Amazon seller, what I usually say is, your time is best spent finding new products, because the best way to grow your business is to find new products that you can add to your portfolio, right? And that's something that probably you're the only one best positioned to do within your business. Maybe it's your business partner, which is great, but if you don't have a partner, that's really what the seller should be doing, because it's hard to train someone to do that. It's even hard to do that on your own. But when it comes to customer support, fixing issues with Amazon seller support, fixing a listing going down, I mean, that could take hours of your time. But it's not the best use of your time. It's not what's going to grow your business. So really thinking deeply about that, and also not getting distracted by a bunch of things. Like, for Amazon sellers, a lot of them think, oh, I need to have my own Shopify, which I think, makes sense if you're really trying to build a strong brand. But if you're trying to have an Amazon business, having a Shopify isn't really that necessary, right? And you have to it's a whole different segment and skill set.
New skill, yeah.
It's a new skill, exactly. So your time is best spent finding more products that you can add into Amazon, and then maybe hiring someone down the line to do that whole Shopify thing, if that's what you think is important for your business. But focus on the things that you are really good at, and only you can do, and make sure that you get other people to come in. And I think investing in really good people early on is one of the things I wish I'd done. Getting out of the mindset of like, oh, I need to find someone who's cheap. I'm only going to get someone who does, the graphic design or the customer support. Looking backwards, what I would have done differently is I would have hired a more senior person, maybe pay someone overseas $1,500 to $2,000 a month from the get-go, someone with leadership experience, someone who's built a team, so that they can actually recruit people around them and do those things, so that they can offload that stuff from me and I can focus on the things that are important, right? That is, really good, because I'm no longer a taskmaster. That person is the taskmaster, and I'm the person more thinking about the business and growth.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So I think we talked about it, but last thing, can you share with us a little more about Marketplace Ops, the company you're focusing on right now, what you offer, what
Yeah,
services I know you said like you explained a little bit about before, like with the
sure.
retail stores that don't have exposure, and stuff like that, but interested to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, so we work with so Marketplace Ops is basically an Amazon, or actually I should say Marketplace's brand management agency. And so what we do is we work with brands. Usually they have their own channel, like their own D2C channel, or they have presence in retail, and they realize that Amazon is an important part that they need to put their products on, but they just don't know how to tackle it because Amazon has just so many components. And because we have this infrastructure and the team and the actual hands-on experience, we work with brands that entrust us to own that channel for them. And we do everything from A to Z. So that means managing the PPC, doing the content design changes, optimizing the listings, doing giveaways, promotions, improving and optimizing listings, virtual bundles, everything you name it, overall growing sales. That's what we do for these brands. So generally that's what we do. And yeah, we really look to work with these CPG brands specifically, because they really have the budget to invest in
Yes.
actually growing their presence on the platform.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's what we do in a nutshell. We're a turnkey solution, and we do everything from A to Z.
Okay, that's very interesting. How you would say those brands, which I assume bigger and they have much more budgets than you sellers just starting with like 10 or 20K, how they approach Amazon differently than, those like private label sellers like me and, when you guys started?
Yeah, how would they approach it? Yeah, that's a really good
They have
question.
patience, they look long term, like what is the way they approach, like,
So,
Amazon?
so they really look way more long term. Amazon sellers, because usually they're bootstrapped or they're a smaller, a more small entrepreneur. They usually are looking at profitability very early on, right? A CPG company that's vendor funded does not look at profitability early on. They look at customer base, overall top line growth and revenue, because that's an indication of future growth.
Okay.
And one of the things that they look at is how their brand resonates with the customer and whether customers are going to come back and buy again. So they're looking at things like LTV, which stands for lifetime value. So how many times a customer comes back and how many times they purchase from them over time. So they're not looking to be profitable on the first sale, maybe not even on the second sale, but really on the third, fourth, and fifth sales and everything that happens after that. So when we work with a brand, like let's say maybe a protein bar company, one of our clients sells protein bars. Their product normally sells at $24.95 for like a 12 pack. Not many people know their brand. And so $24.95 is very expensive for like someone who isn't familiar with the brand, right?
Yeah.
And so what we do is we help them merchandise a $14.99 offering, and that's like a sampler pack. And the reason why that's valuable is because in groceries, you get an 8% discount on Amazon referral fees. So your margins might even be greater if you're under $15. And so what we do is we merchandise an offering like that. The goal isn't to be profitable on that offering. It's really to get that offering in as many people's hands as possible. So we'll promote that offering. We'll do giveaways. We'll also do lightning deals, best deals on that offer. And what we're looking at isn't the sales or the revenue of that particular SKU, but really how that impacts subscriptions over a longer period of time. So that's really what we're looking at. Like, how many more subscribers can we get that are coming back, returning to the brand? Because we want to get this product in as many hands as possible. And if we can do it at break even or even at a loss, that's fine, because over the long term, they're thinking 1, 2, 3 years down the line from now.
Yeah, yeah, that's very cool. Actually, I'm planning to do something very similar. So I do have a niche that I have like 6 or 7 products, and I'm trying to really dominate the niche. And my plan is to create, and I actually started with this, executing this plan, creating an item that costs $7. I'm not gonna make a penny on this item, only creating it to create this crazy sales velocity. Hopefully, I'm gonna sell thousands a month of this product, just so I can lead them to my website to purchase and upsell, like cross sell some related items. That's my plan, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to work. It's I think it makes sense. It's something people sometimes neglect or don't look at. They say, oh, if it's not profitable, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. But if you think out of the box, and you can create and have this advantage over your competitors, like thinking out of the box, trying new things, because it might not work. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but if it's going to work, I really discovered something that is big for me.
Hey, Hey, Tomer, sorry, I got disconnected just now. You're talking about hopefully you sell thousands of units. My
Oh,
internet
okay.
has been crapping out,
Yeah.
so I apologize for that.
No problem. I'll repeat that. So, in a nutshell, what I said is that I'm trying to create these sales velocity, so many orders, and then lead them to my website, cross sell with some other related items
Sure.
that I know that there is demand. So I really looked at the customer feedback, and I saw that people that purchase this item, they really want this complementary item. So I'm okay not making any money on this order, getting reviews, getting credibility, brand awareness, all of this, but just to get profit with the related complementary items.
Totally.
That's my plan.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great plan. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing people don't tackle enough is targeting, doing product targeting and tying products together within Amazon's ecosystem. So if you have a product that you know is relevant to your other products, having them cross-link. So one is high sales velocity, and then you're directing them somehow to this other product, maybe infrequently bought together. So those are some interesting things that you could use to go about that.
Yeah, that's good tips for me for now.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you so much. Really, it was really a pleasure. I learned a lot, and people that
Thank
are
you.
going to watch it a couple of times. There are a couple of the way of thinking of Nick is what you really need to adopt. And I love it. To those that want to contact you or learn about your services, guys, how they can do that.
Yeah, you can go to marketplaceops.com, and you can email me as well, nick@marketplaceops.com.
Very cool. Thank you very much again, Nick. It was a pleasure. I hope to have you as a guest here again in the future, because I feel we have so many things to talk about. And yeah, take care. Good luck with your new agency. I'm sure you're going to be very successful at this with your
Thank
mind.
you so much. Appreciate it, Tomer. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.